Nothing can kill your trip quicker than a bad flight.
We are breaking down a long flight survival guide.
So that you can sleep like a baby in economy.
Knocked out.
We are quite experienced flyers. We've survived a 16-hour flight and many a 24-hour travel day. So we know a thing or two when it comes to those long-haul flights. And yes, we know a thing or two about surviving them in economy.
Right now, we are gearing up for a 16-hour travel day.
Which includes a 7-hour flight home from Paris.
We're going to show you how to survive it.
I'm leaving at 11 p.m., flying for 8.5 hours, and arriving at 1:30 p.m. So my brain gonna work real good, I think.
When it comes to surviving a long flight, I would argue the most important first step, packing your survival guide. This one is mine. This is gonna look a little bit different for everyone. You know, not everybody's gonna have the same things. I'm gonna show you my non-negotiables. She's gonna let you know some of her favorite things. And this is just the things that make the flight the most comfortable and relaxed and whatever you need it to be as possible. First things first, my pillow. I know that long haul flights oftentimes will give you pillows. I like to have my own. I actually have two. Fry's using the other one. I'm a picky sleeper. I know what I want. Those pillows are thin and a little scratchy.
Also, pro tip, you don't have to use them as a neck pillow. You can use them for back support.
And sometimes I'll sit on them if my butt went numb. So, to be honest. Now, this one is the silliest. This one was not expensive at all. I think I paid like $20 for it. It's a foot hammock. This is what it looks like. This comes out, it hangs on the back, and you just kind of elevate your feet a little bit. If you're taller, it's probably not gonna make the biggest difference in the world, but just being able to move your feet up and down is gonna make a lot more of a difference than you think when you can't move for 8 hours. These are Fry's, but I have some of my own as well. They're compression travel socks. These are just gonna help prevent your legs from getting achy, from getting tired. It helps with your blood flow, and I have done flights where I did not have these, and I have done flights with them, and there is in my opinion, a big difference.
I need everyone to know that I already have compression socks. I packed them. I brought them, but they're in my checked bag. So I did unfortunately have to buy these at the airport. They were $17, but I think well worth it. I also, pro tip outside of travel and flying, I wear compression socks when I run. So when I run half marathons, I do wear compression socks. So this is something that you can use, not just for traveling, but Disney parks in general. If you're going to be at a Disney park all day long, walking around, wear compression socks.
Here's mine. They're pink with polka dots.
Mine are purple with polka dots.
Stop. Next up, I like a good pair of headphones. I actually have two with me. I brought my AirPods and I bought these noise cancellation ones. After a while, both have their discomfort levels. These might squeeze you, the other ones might hurt your ears, so I like being able to go back and forth.
I only have AirPods, and they're the little ones, so I feel like eventually I will upgrade to those. She can't hear what we're saying right now. We could talk smack right now.
I personally like to bring skincare. This is all just skincare, toothbrush, whatever you need. For me, I know I feel really gross, especially after being in airports for layovers, and sometimes it helps my brain switch. It's time to calm down and start settling down when I do my nighttime skincare and brush my teeth. So I always have that with me.
I also have toothbrush, toothpaste, deodorant. I have makeup remover wipes. I have flushable wipes.
Anything you might need to feel a little bit cleaner.
Yes.
Yeah. We also love to bring water bottles. Obviously, you can't bring water through security, but you can fill your water bottles up after you get there. I also bring a blanket. This is a travel blanket, super thin. It covers my entire body, and this just helps me get a little bit more comfortable. This is another one of those things that they typically provide you. I like this one a lot better. I use it a lot, and it'll hook onto my bag if I don't have enough room. I take it everywhere, even if it's only an hour flight. I take it everywhere, because you just never know. Another thing I love to have on long haul flights is this little guy. Can you see him? Maybe, yes, no, maybe should. If I take it a little closer. That is a wireless headphone connector. So instead of plugging in your headphones to watch movies and videos and whatever else they provide on the plane, you can plug this in and your Bluetooth headphones can connect to it. I also love to have a phone stand. This is something Fry and I talked about. I made the choice to leave mine this last time just because I'm not super worried about it. I brought my games. Typically, we like a little phone connector as well, so that way if you want to watch your specific movies and things, you can have it. I also bring a night mask. If I'm gonna sleep on a plane, it has to be dark, and you can't always guarantee that they're gonna turn the lights off. They'll dim them even if you have an overnight flight. I can't sleep if there's any light in the room. So I always just make sure to have this, and then any medicine as well. Whatever medicine you need, whether it is for de-stressing, which we'll get into later, if it's medical need, if you think you might need it, bring it with you in your carry-on. Do not put it in your checked bag. You will not be able to get it until you get to your final destination, so always have your medicine with you.
Yes, on that note, glasses, contacts, anything like that you need just to live your normal life. Keep it on you, have it on you. I have 2 pairs of contacts. I wear dailies on my bag right now. The rest are in the checked bag.
And these are just the essentials. These are the things that help me make the flight more comfortable. There's a lot more in this bag, and we're gonna break it all down as we go through the rest of this guide. This could look different for you. You might need 2 items. You might need 20. It really is depending on what you're actually going to use. Don't load down on a bunch of things that just in case, because then the bag's heavy, it makes it harder to find the things you actually need.
Next survival tip is to move your body as much as you can. On the plane, we're talking about during long layovers, we're talking about before you get on a long flight, just anything to get your blood pumping, just to make you feel a little bit better. So right now here in the airport, we're gonna have a little stretching session, and we're just gonna get our bodies loose and ready for our long flight. I'm gonna pop my back, hold on, here we go. Sorry, I'm out of breath. That's embarrassing. Now, if you're anything like us, this might feel a little weird, might feel a little strange at first, but it will make you feel better for those long flights. Moving during these long haul flights is a major necessity to help with comfort, your blood flow, and restlessness. This can look many different ways. This can look like finding seat-specific stretches, which you can find a ton of examples online beforehand. And also on our first flight to Boston, JetBlue did have specific plane seat yoga poses with videos to show us. Just be aware, I don't know if I would be comfortable doing plane yoga next to someone I don't know, but I was fine doing it next to Emma. I'd never seen that before, and I loved it. Also, during your long flight, you could take a long walk to the bathroom, just walk up and down the aisles for a couple minutes, just every now and then, just to keep your blood flowing, things like that. Even just going up to the bathroom, standing up, stretching. We are hoping that this flight, we're going to be the only 2 on the row. Everybody cross your fingers, we'll see. And if that is the case, then we will be stretching a lot because we won't be disturbing anyone else.
And we'll have a lot more room.
Yes.
Figure out where you're sitting before you board. I am very type A. I read all the details about my aircraft. I look at little mock-up maps of what my aircraft looks like. I found out what food is going to be serving, how the entertainment works. Is there free Wi-Fi or just a message pass? I find it all out in advance. And you don't have to be like me. There's really no reason to, but you should look at where your seat is. This helps to make sure that there's less stress when boarding, especially on international flights where you will be directed to a certain aisle depending on where your seat is when you're boarding. If you go down the wrong aisle, you would have to cross like 4 people to get to your seat. It's awkward. It's bad. It's worse than when you have to go to the bathroom in the middle of the second act of Phantom of the Opera at the theater, if you've ever had that happen. It's also helpful when you want to go to the bathroom and even in extreme circumstances from a safety perspective, knowing where the exits are. Also knowing where the best areas are for you to do a little plane yoga mid-flight. I know people are like, don't get up and get in front of people on your flight. It's fair game on an international flight. If it's multi-hour, get up and do your yoga. No one cares. Everybody's in the same boat. We're all on this plane for 12 hours. Do what you gotta do. Just do it quietly. I'm trying to sleep. It's just a good idea to have an idea of where your seat is and what the plane offers in advance so you're not caught off guard by anything once you're on board and you know everything that's available as an option to you. My bedtime is at 11. It's 10:34. And we're supposed to take off at 11 and we're not boarding yet. And I'm gonna be really sleepy. I'm wearing compression socks.
All right, next up, bring the sleep gummies. This is something that is not going to be for everyone, but it's certainly for us. If you are a restless flyer, if you have a hard time falling asleep, especially for these like weird hour length flights, we personally love sleep gummies. This is going to depend on who you are. Some people say it will make you groggy and kind of a hard start to your trip. Other people like us really enjoy it, and it makes sleeping on long haul flights a lot easier.
One thing you can do ahead of your trip is maybe if you've never tried sleep melatonin gummies before, if you're nervous about them, maybe try them at home first, maybe a week before your trip, just to see how it affects you and how it makes you feel. I don't ever use them at home, but I do use them on long flights just to help me get to sleep right when the flight starts, after our meal, depending on your flight time.
I also will say you need to make sure to know the laws when it comes to melatonin for where you're traveling. So, for example, it is illegal in some places. Japan is a good example of that. And I accidentally flew to Japan with melatonin. So wasn't the best, but was able to toss it, not a problem. And it just is a great way to kind of like ease yourself into what is probably going to be a more troublesome sleep.
Next tip, have a few hobbies. Most long-haul flights do offer a lot of entertainment. I mean, hours and hours worth. There are screens in the seat backs typically that have movies, podcasts, music, even like soundscapes. You can watch the flight map. That's big. I do that as well. But there's always the chance that you have your thing that you've been obsessed with at home that they just do not have on the seat back entertainment. I love a good in-flight movie, but to be honest, sometimes I'm not in a movie mood, and their TV show selection is always a little slim. So what I often do is I pick my current obsession and I make sure to have it on my phone. Most of the time I don't even need it because I use the in-flight entertainment, but just in case nothing's hitting for me, I have that as a backup. So right now I have a podcast I'm super into. I've downloaded enough episodes that it could take the whole 8 hours. There's no way I'm going to listen to 8 hours of my podcast, but I could. And that's what matters. And you can bring a whole variety. Some potential examples. You could bring your Kindle or a book or many books, a Switch or another handheld gaming device. You could knit, bring coloring pages, bring apps, iPads, games. Even you could download your TikToks for online viewing. I would never do that, but you certainly could.
If hobbies aren't enough for you, if you aren't into the movies and everything else they provide on the flight, you can study the language of the place that you're going. As someone who definitely put off learning the language, this was a great time for me to just do like a fast recap, figure out maybe those important keywords like help, bathroom, water, like the important things. You're not going to become fluent. You're not going to learn all the things that you probably should/could know, but as long as you know the keywords, this is a great time to give yourself like a refresher. And for me, I had to trap myself on a flight to make myself learn how to do, certain words, to like jog my memory on things I used to know. So that's another thing you can do on this long haul flight.
Our next big tip is to get your entertainment ready. This is a very big one for us especially. We've already talked about movies and TV shows, watching them on the plane, but sometimes you need to be prepared if the systems on the airplanes do not work like they're supposed to. So just ahead of time, downloading things on your iPad, phone, computer, what have you, just to make sure you have at least something that you know is going to work. A lot of the times the screens on the back of the seats are great. They work so well, but you can't always 100% rely on them. So just downloading a couple things before your flight is always a good idea. I usually download maybe 1 or 2 movies, but just making sure I have just at least something downloaded if worse comes to worse. I also have playlists on Spotify downloaded as well, just for music, because sometimes I fall asleep listening to music on the plane.
I will say, as far as downloading goes too, something I did for the first flight we took is I downloaded sleep noises and rain noises. It helped distract from the plane and didn't make me listen to music or movies while I was trying to sleep. And it's the first time I've done that, and that was so instrumental in actually feeling like I got a restful sleep.
And also on that note, just knowing that listening to podcasts or music takes up less battery life than watching a movie on your phone. Being cautious of your phone's battery life and all of that, take all of that into consideration when thinking about your in-flight entertainment.
Also, pack your own snacks. I know, this is kind of a crazy one because you're like, they give you food on the airplane, and that's true. But airplane food has a reputation for being bad, and that is not without reason. I have flown many international flights, and in our experience, we haven't noticed that the food is as bad as people would leave you to believe. For instance, you're probably not going to get sick from drinking airline coffee, otherwise they wouldn't be able to serve the hot water. And the food most of the time, it's going to be just fine. That said, I tend to go meatless because I think that meat, when stored the airplane way, strange. It's like when you eat astronaut ice cream. That just doesn't seem like how ice cream should be. When you eat meat in an airplane, it's usually a little off from what you think meat should be. So you can always go veg, which is what I tend to do. Now, what you'll find with airplane meals a lot is a little bit of like a wonky, very mid entree, but like a salad that's just fine. And then a dessert that's pretty good because it's prepackaged. It's like there's always like a brownie or something. Always pretty good. However, if you're a picky food eater or you just like to have a lot of involvement where your food comes from, you're not going to see that when you're on an airplane. You're going to get a little tray that looks like it's from your high school cafeteria. Then you probably want to look at bringing your own snacks and food. And I don't recommend buying at the airport. I really recommend packing at home. Airport prices are wild. I was in the store earlier, $4 for a bag of Cheez-Its. And not a big bag, like a single serve bag of Cheez-Its. And we all know it's underfilled. $4. But when you are packing food for the airplane, you need to consider a couple of things. You want to have things that can be kept at room temperature, both for safety and general enjoyment. You want separate servings into mini meals instead of packing yourself a big meal so that you can snack. That way, when your body's all wonky because the time isn't real when you're on a plane overseas, you can kind of snack when you want to. Avoid anything that needs utensils or that has a super strong smell, I promise. You might be like, I won't care, I just gotta eat. You'll care. You'll be embarrassed. People will be looking if you have something really strong smelling. If you bring like canned tuna, I would never do that. I don't know. I've never done that, I promise. It sounds like I've done that. I've never brought canned tuna on a flight. That would be volatile. I can't believe they allow that through TSA. Also, store your food in reusable sandwich bags instead of clunkier plastic containers, as those sandwich bags can pack a lot easier. But remember not to bring yourself any liquids more than 3 ounces because of those TSA rules. So grab your liquids after security at a shop. Pay the premium. I know, it's the worst. Or you can just get water bottle refills. That's what I do. And another pro tip about airplane food is that prior to your flight, you can actually look at what the food service offerings on your flight will be. Now, sometimes it's vague and just says like full meal. In that case, it's probably going to be, 1 or 2 options that are a little bit wonky. However, in some cases, you might see a lot more detail and you might even see some alternative options like cup of noodles, ramen. A lot of international airlines offer cup of noodles, and that is a more picky eater friendly option. So you can check out what your airplane has in advance before you decide whether or not you need to pack snacks.
I love that you're holding the mic for me. Wow. Another thing I like to do on my long haul flights is wear layers. This is something that Brian and I both find very important. We're actually doing right now, even though it might not be super clear. Long haul flights, if you are anyone who kind of alternates between really hot, really cold, and just kind of somewhere in the middle as you travel, which almost everyone does, layers are going to be your best friend. Being able to internally adjust your own temperature is so important. You cannot guarantee if that flight's going to be hot. You can't guarantee if it's going to be cold. So being able to adjust what you have on is going to be the best way to make yourself super, super comfortable. I like to wear a long pair of comfortable pants that are a little bit more breathable, so they're not too hot, but they just help kind of regulate my normal body temperature. Then after that, I go with a tank top or a t-shirt. And after that, I like a really loose, big sweater or sweatshirt. It's easy to get on and off. It's easy to make sure that I'm comfortable the entire time. You will be shocked if you get into a hoodie and you start sweating and there's nothing under that hoodie to take off, then you are miserable on this flight. And you also might have a t-shirt on and the flight is freezing and you cannot sleep. I have had both experiences on shorter flights. I refuse to have them on longer flights. It's also important to note when it comes to like having layers, a lot of people take their shoes off for long haul flights. That is very normal. That being said, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, wear socks.
Please. Oh my goodness.
I don't want to see your feet on a plane. You don't want to see my feet on a plane. Just wear some socks. Planes are clean, of course, but not barefoot clean. No. Just I'm begging you, please. It's just like a human request, I think. And if you feel judged, we're just going to leave it there. We're going to let that lie. Yep.
Our next tip is to keep a change of clothes in your carry-on.
Ooh, I can't wait to hear more.
Yes, this one is very important. Number one, you never know what's going to happen on the flight. Maybe you spill something on your shirt. Maybe you just get gross and sweaty. Anything can happen, so keeping a change of clothes on you is always a good idea. On our layover the way over here, I wanted to change a couple of my items, like undergarments, just to feel fresh for the next flight. But then also when you land, you'll want to keep a change of clothes in your carry-on because maybe you're hitting the ground running and doing something immediately. When we landed in Paris, we had all of our makeup in our carry-on and our change of clothes. We changed clothes in the bathroom at the airport. We put on our makeup in the Uber on the way because we wanted to hit the ground running and spend as much time running around Paris as possible. So many different reasons to keep a change of clothes in your carry-on just to make sure you are completely ready as soon as you land.
I'm about to say something crazy to you. Are you ready? Consider picking a back row seat. I said it. Now, in most cases, your favorite seat probably isn't in the back of the plane. You think it's noisy. There's sometimes less leg room. Most of all, it makes you one of the last people to get off the plane when it does land. However, there are perks to choosing a back seat. When your flight isn't full, fewer people can select a back row seat, which could mean having extra empty seats in your row, and maybe, if you're really lucky, even a whole row to yourself. Now, something I always say is do not get your hopes up until they say the boarding door is closed. You never know when that last person is going to walk in those doors and crush your dreams, but could mean a row to yourselves. Also, if you start by picking the back, it allows you to watch which rows don't fill up, so you can keep checking back on that seat map and select a seat that's a little further forward as the row remains empty. And maybe again, get that empty row. There's nothing better than a poor man's first class, aka empty row of 3 seats, baby. I'm laying down. 3 screens. I can watch all 3 of the things I want to watch. Emma and I have lucked out many times on past trips because of this trick. We tend to pick a back row, move ourselves forward as we see fit, and oftentimes nobody in that 3rd seat. Just me and Emma. 3 seats. Incredible, spacious, luxurious, first class, but not first class at all.
For me personally, a major part of our surviving a long haul flight guide is de-stressing before a flight. If you've never done a long haul flight, if you have, but it's been a while, it can feel incredibly stressful. How did you feel before your first long haul flight?
Me flying to Paris was the first time I've ever flown out of the country. And so it was a big deal for me, and I was a little stressed about it just because, I'm fine with flying a flight all the time, but my flights are usually 3 hours maximum. So the thought of me flying over a major ocean, the plane is flying for 8 hours. That's crazy. I can't even comprehend that. So even if you think I'm fine, I fly all the time, it's a bigger deal. It's a different feeling. It's a different level of travel.
And I will say I've been so lucky and blessed enough to do it a lot, have several long haul flights. And it still has a level of nerves every single time, just because if you forget something important, you're without it for 8 hours. I like to sit down and have a checklist of everything I need, so that way I confirm not only did I put it in my bag, but I checked off that I put it in my bag. Oftentimes, if I have a little bit of a later flight, if it's not first thing in the morning, I like to go on a walk. I like to read a book. I like to maybe even take like a bath or a good hot shower, just things to help me physically decompress. I also know that for some people, it might even be taking some medicine, anxiety medication, anything to help you relax. This might feel extreme for you. It might not be something that you need, but for a lot of people, that's how stressful big travel like this can feel. And you don't want to be on a flight for 8 hours just constantly stressed out of your mind. It's not the way to start your trip. It's a bad way to end your trip. And it's no fun to be that high strung for this many hours. I promise from personal experience, it just isn't a great time, and it makes flying a lot harder than it has to be.
Next, we are going to tell you, this is probably something you might not think about, be selective about your drinks on the flight. I have never used the bathroom on a plane. That is how much I have traveled short distances. So that's something that I was actually very nervous about for my flight to Paris. These long haul flights, you can get a glass of wine for free, maybe some beer, have some drinks to help you with your nerves, which is a good thing, but just don't do it too much. Just keep it in moderation, because it could make you have to go to the bathroom a lot, and that wouldn't be fun, climbing over everybody, getting up, going to the bathroom multiple times during your flight, because then you're not sleeping, and it could just not be the best flight experience you might ever have. Not only can it mess up your sleep pattern, but it can also be very dehydrating. So just keeping everything in moderation.
This one is huge, and I promise you, this is the reason I like a long haul flight better than a short one. And that's because you need to reframe your mindset. Long haul flights can feel daunting. I mean, hours and hours and hours where you just can't move around that much. You're in a tin can in the sky. That's the easy way to think about it. However, you know what long haul flights are also? No one can email you. No one can call. No one can text. You are unbeholden to anything Accept your little shows on your little TV screen in your little seat. Make yourself at home. Get comfortable. This is time to get settled. I have found that I much prefer a flight that is over 8 hours than a flight that is between 4 and 6. That 4 and 6 window for me, not enough time for me to get settled and actually feel like I'm taking a little break in the sky. But when you get to that 8+ hours, you basically go into like a time warp, I feel like, where you can do whatever you want. Listen, we're adults. Maybe you're a kid watching this. You're here also. There's not a lot of time that we could just watch our silly shows and do nothing guilt-free. This is that time. This is 8 to 12 to 16 beautiful hours where you don't have to do anything, and there's no problem with that. That's amazing. I mean, that's amazing to me as a child-free professional. And if you aren't traveling alone, you might be traveling with your kids. That can be a little bit more daunting, but as long as they are plenty entertained or prepped to sleep, kids can sleep a lot of places in most instances, then you still will get a little bit of that time to yourself, and that can be a wonderful gift. But if even that doesn't sound that great, and you have a 12-hour, 8-hour, 18-hour flight ahead of you, instead of thinking of it as a 12-hour flight, think of it as 3 4-hour flights where you don't have to get up. It's a little nice, no layover. The best way to do this is to segment your time. Decide when you'll sleep, when you'll watch, when you'll eat, and make sure to treat those times differently when you are on the flight. When they are bringing those trays by of your in-flight meal, that's eating time. It's a different time than when you were just watching 87 episodes of Southern Comfort. Sleep for a few hours and then rotate through your movies, your books, or just, watching the flight map. The best case scenario is to sleep as long as you can and then rotate through your entertainment on that last stretch. And one of my favorite tips is adjust to your destination's time zone using the beverages that are served during flight. My personal rule is if it's a time that I'll be sleeping at my destination, I drink red wine. If it's time that I'll be awake at my destination, I drink black coffee. And I drink double the water that I'm supposed to make up for that, because you will get extra dehydrated on a flight. But I found that a massive help in adjusting me to my time zone where I land and helping with jet lag. Check out the in-flight menu and you can find something to your taste. So with that mindset, when you are on the flight, instead of saying stuff to yourself like, oh my gosh, it's only been 2 hours, or oh gosh, it's only halfway, start saying stuff like, man, 2 hours down, only 4 more segments to go. Or, oh, I did the sleeping part, now it's time for the entertainment part. Or breakfast is coming soon, and then I'll get to do more of the entertainment. Segmenting it up into more of an activity than just a seemingly endless amount of hours can be really helpful.
Finally, I think it's important to remember that thousands of people survive long-haul flights every single day, and you can too.
I think at the end of the day, yes, it might not be the most comfortable experience, but that should not deter you from traveling and seeing the world. That is just a small part of it.
It's also like you're not going to be sleeping in a luxury bed, most of us. So don't expect the ultimate comfortable, like everything we've provided still isn't going to make your seat the Ritz-Carlton bed. But you do know what to expect. You know that you have the tools that you need to survive. And at the end of the day, you can do anything for a day.
Now, if you feel like you really can't do a long flight in economy, maybe save for a longer period of time and spend that good hard money to upgrade your seat, okay? I do think in some instances that's worth it, and you want to have a really nice, comfortable experience. You're just going to have to save a little bit more to upgrade your seat. At the end of the day, anybody can do this for a couple hours.
And you're probably always going to find us in economy.
Yeah, you will.
Hopefully this video was helpful if you've got a long haul flight coming up. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe. We do a lot of travel tips all the time, and we are traveling some seriously long haul flights and some seriously economical seats. So we have a lot of tips to share. Plus, we have a goal of hitting 500,000 subscribers, and we're in the home stretch. So if you like vacationing or theme parks or anything like that, we do a whole lot of that stuff because we're serious about fun. Thanks for watching. See you next time.